Welcome. I've got an amazing group of individuals here with me to talk about debunking real estate myths. What do successful agents look like in 2022? So with me, I've got Hailey MacArthur, I've got Sam Kwon, and Adam George Palios. Thank you guys all for joining me today. How are you guys doing?
Great. Thanks so much for having us, Anna.
Doing amazing. Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm
Great.
very excited to be on a panel with some other awesome agents.
Yeah, you guys are all rock stars, and obviously you want to celebrate all your success and also share in some of the wins that you have had. So briefly, let's just start with Hailey. Can you give me a brief introduction of who you are, how long you've been in real estate, and just a brief introduction to your business model, what your team looks like? Hailey, take it away.
Hi, I am Hailey. I am a realtor with Keller Williams up here on South Georgian Bay. I'm in my 16th month of real estate. In my first year, I was on the number 6 team across all of KW Canada, closed 42 transactions. And I took that success and created my own team this year. We are the Georgian Bay team. It's a team of 3 full-time awesome realtors, and we're planning market domination up here.
Such a quick growth path, and we're
Amazing.
definitely going to focus on what that looks like. I'm excited to hear more about it. Sam, tell us a little bit about you.
All right. My name is Sam I'm from Keller Williams Legacies. I started in the Hamilton market and I transitioned to the Vaughan market last year. And I'm an expansion partner with Freedom Reps. So I started a team this year, Kwon Estates, and I've been in the business for 3 years. So this is my 3rd full year. And yeah, I'm very grateful to be here. So thanks for having me again.
Great. Thank you, Sam. And Adam, last but definitely not least, tell us about your business and how long you've been in real estate.
Hi, my name is Adam George Palios. I am a realtor with Keller Williams Complete and now the team lead of Clearly Real Estate, a team that I started with 2 friends of mine who recently got their licenses. I have been in real estate. I believe this is so as of May 1st, it was 6 years. Very excited about my career trajectory and being able to share my wealth of knowledge and experience with other agents to help elevate the industry.
Wow. So there's some common paths here. You guys are all on the team route and really excited to hear about how your growth trajectory has taken you there. What I wanted to start focusing on, just like the name of this session today, what are some of the common myths that you've heard about the real estate industry, even prior to starting or now that you're in real estate? And maybe can you clear them up in terms of what your perspective is on them? I'll pass it over to Adam to start us off.
I think that the biggest myth that also can be the biggest hurdle, because it's something that a lot of people will firmly believe and it's very difficult to change their minds about, is the idea that you don't need a realtor. You know, you don't need a realtor the same way that you don't need a personal trainer when you go to the gym. You don't need a realtor the same way that you don't need a professional lawyer if you're in trouble. You could do it yourself, but wouldn't you rather have someone motivating, acknowledging, keeping you accountable, helping you grow, and doing the thing that they do every day, in and out? Maybe they do it better than you would. And I have a lot of respect for people that try to navigate this industry, because as realtors who have done, I think, probably thousands of transactions between the 4 of us, every deal is different. Every deal is a learning experience. There are certain things that I didn't know even 2 years ago that now I'm confident in overcoming, that if someone just tried to do on their own, I can't even imagine what would occur.
That's a really good perspective for sure. And I think that's commonly with like the consumers that are out there, obviously seeing headlines in the media of what's happening in our industry without actually being, boots on the ground. So thank you for bringing that up. Sam, what are some of the common myths that you've heard about the real estate industry?
One thing that really comes to my mind is that everyone is under the perception that we have it very easy. Us realtors, we make a lot of money and it's so easy. Everything's kind of handed to us and things of that nature. Therefore, it's a kind of like a yes and no type of deal. And the reason why I say that, it's people don't really understand the hustle and the grind, the day-to-day that we have to go through to find the motivated sellers, find the motivated buyers, and have great consultation and conversations to help them navigate with the biggest asset that they currently own. And it's not overly an easy process, although some people may have it, I guess, easier if you have a big network of friends, family that are looking to transact right away. However, obviously, it really depends on your goal. But if you want to elevate your game and your, I guess, growth, then it's always good to have constant flow of business. And what we have to do as realtors to get there and go through that, it's a really, really a big process. And for myself, I guess I can kind of relate to that because when I first started in this industry, I reached out to my friends and family. No one was ready to do anything. Therefore, I had to turn to cold leads, meaning a lot of cold calling, a lot of door knocking. And I respect everyone that goes through this, working with cold leads and really, really grinding it out the day to day, and then seeing your work into fruition. Yes, we can make a lot of money. You're absolutely right. But it's what are you willing to do to get to where you need to be to see that success?
I wonder if it's okay if I jump in here just because of that myth. I'm sure we've all faced it. I recently read a stat. There are now more registered realtors in Toronto than there are teachers.
Wow.
So if you think of every single school, every single grade, and from kindergarten up to high school, how many is that? Thousands. There are more registered realtors in Toronto. There are not enough transactions to see someone doing 40, 50, 100 transactions with a team. That means that, and I know there's a common stat that I think is thrown around 75% of realtors do 5 or fewer deals a year. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't trust my largest financial decision with someone who only does their job 5 times a year. You know, I want to go with the agent that's doing 40 in her first year. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And like the name of this webinar is called, it's all about the grind, and really becoming a business owner in real estate is a whole massive ordeal. But I think you guys are bringing up some great points that we're going to be tapping into. Now, Hailey, what is the biggest myth that you've heard, and especially getting into the real estate industry not long ago, how have you been able to clear up those myths for yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to flip the script a little bit. So the myths that are most forefront in my mind aren't what consumers are thinking about real estate agents, because all different types of opinions out there, but what new realtors are thinking getting into the industry. So myths I've heard is that, you need a luxury vehicle to sell luxury homes. You do not. My very first listing I got by myself, I was driving I don't even know how old, a Honda Civic. The paint was peeling on the top of the roof and I had more than 300,000 clicks on it. Like, it was a piece of crap, but I got the listing and it was $1 million waterfront listing. So debunked that myth. What other myths? That it's going to suck your first couple of years in real estate. Yeah, it's going to suck if you go in with that limiting mindset. If you believe that myth, it will suck. But if you go in there and you put in the work, just like Sam was saying, and you try hard and you grind and you actually wake up every day and do the things that you need to do, it doesn't have to suck. And it's not a myth, but one of the stats that we know is that 90% of realtors fail in their first couple of years of real estate, and we don't ever see them again. Our goal is to make sure that our audience doesn't become that statistic.
I love that. And I think we're going to be chatting about that a little bit too, because you all have been either within the 2 years or longer at this point, or going into the 2 years or longer. And you're right, we never want to be that statistic. I think anyone that comes into our world, we want to make sure that they're thriving and surviving, not leaving the industry based on what their activities have been. So can you guys tell me what you believe to be the top strategies for realtors finding success, especially in this current market this year, 2022? Anybody can answer this question. Feel free to take it away.
I think we should start by talking about how the market has changed in 2022 and how our strategies need to change as well. I think you really need to position yourself as the local expert, because it's going to take a lot more than just posting a sign in the yard, putting on the MLS and praying for an offer at this point. We're seeing houses sit for longer on market. Pricing expectations are very important right now because you don't want the buyers to overlook your listings. You need to get something done, and you need to do something differently to do it, because we're no longer in that red hot market. Go ahead, guys.
So, I mean, I would say it was the biggest shift in my business. Was the shift in the way that I am in my personal life. So truly, I had to develop a mindset of how I wanted to be in business, and how changing for how changing to become the person that has a successful business changed and improved my personal life too. So, you know, the be, do, have that we believe in Keller Williams, you got to be who you are, that will do the things that someone who has those things do, right? I wanted a successful business. What things do successful business people do? I became that person first. Following my schedule, building a business based off of connection, not based off of trickery or withholding information. Building a business that is based off of providing value and you know, giving a lot of advice and doing a lot of things for free to make sure that people see the value of speaking with someone like me, of hiring someone like me, and of referring someone like me to all their friends and family.
That's awesome. Yeah, I guess going off that point, I mean, really understanding your market, what's really happening month over month is very important because, yeah, we are going through a shift, and that means it's going to be more challenging. Less transactions, more listings. Therefore, we have to double up on appointments, lead generation, whatever that looks like. We have to find the motivated sellers and buyers because they're going to be hard to come by. There is a book called Shift, ironically, by Gary Keller, and I highly advise you to read it. And what he really focuses on that book is really, really go hard on your lead generation, because it's either going to make you or break you, this market. And yes, it's great to have a great mindset, 100%, because that's where everything starts. However, you want to bring forth into action. Like what Adam said, yeah, time block everything and follow it. Like there's no tomorrow.
I time block calling my mom. You know, like I'll put 15 minutes in every other week.
Does your mom know that?
Like you got to invite her to that time block in the Google Calendar, so she knows.
Google Calendar invite.
It's just I want to make sure that I do all the things in my life that I want to do, and the easiest way to do that, we all have the same 24 hours in general, you know. So I want to make sure that I stay in touch with my family because that matters to me. And I would hate to look back. It's been a month, 2 months, 3 months, and I haven't made time. I make time explicitly in my schedule to do the things that I love so that I can also organize myself around business too. I'm never too busy. I just need to more effectively schedule myself.
There's a couple points I want to just touch on there really quickly for everybody listening. First and foremost, Sam mentioned the book Shift. So we're going to put the Shift PDF book into the chat so everybody can download it and have a copy of it for free. The next couple of things that I heard throughout that conversation right there is being not only the expert of choice, but being the educator of choice, right? Being somebody that provides value, that educates people. I truly believe that's the best way that you can return from your database and from the people that you're meeting and adding to that database.
Can I bring together being the expert, but also having the right mindset? So as the expert, we should at this point be educating our clients that yes, the market has shifted, but we're also still in a seller's market. And this is a good thing for everybody. It's good for buyers and it's good for sellers. What's not good for everybody is a market that increases 10 to 20% month after month. That's not sustainable. That creates inflation. Where we're headed,
else isn't good is
better.
Misinformation through media, different articles.
A lot going on out there in the news right now.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's scaring people. I mean, it's fear mongering. I mean, one thing to keep in perspective is that interest rates are still lower than they were in 2019.
100%. The other last point I just wanted to touch on, which I think comes back to it being a myth. I think people think that they can be a slave to their calendar if they're time blocking everything. But I look at it the same way that Adam and you guys probably do as well, is like the more structured your calendar is, the more time you have for people. Like I constantly get phone calls and the first thing that people say is like, oh, sorry, I know you're busy, but, and I'm like, well, I'm not busy because I time block, right? Like I'm busy to the extent that I want to be. And I totally appreciate that that's a tactic that you need to be successful in this business. So as we're kind of talking about the shift, my next question was really leading into more conversation around that. So the first question is, has the market changed over the past 3 years? And what advice can you provide for newer realtors as they're coming into real estate to focus on the market?
I'll jump in. I am very grateful the market is shifting. As you pointed out, it's unsustainable, the growth that was happening. I read a very sort of someone did some quick math about the rate that homes were increasing, and it was, if it continued at that rate by 2045, everyone in Canada that owned a home would be a billionaire, which obviously isn't going to happen, right? So exactly, some of the growth is unsustainable, and sure, we see an average decrease, but that brings us back to December prices. Oh, interest rates have increased. Okay, that brings us back to 2019. In 2019, it's still a good time to buy or sell real estate? Yes. In December, were you still? Do we still have sky high prices? Yeah, we did. We've cut off the froth. We've cut off the fervor that came from a very weird temporary buyer psychology. And the stats are still showing we're still in a seller's market. But buyer psychology has shifted, which again, I think is a good thing. I'm sure y'all could agree. Since the early spring market of 2020, I've been going nonstop. It's been very hectic. People ask, oh my gosh, it must be a great time to be a realtor. It's a great time to be a busy realtor, because it was much harder to find a home to buy. It was much more difficult to navigate sellers' expectations when they had to sell them and buy in the same period. It was a good time to be a good realtor.
I'm going to jump on that, Adam. Yeah. So when I started, it was in the second year of the pandemic, and everybody told me like, oh, you really lucked out. You got into real estate at the right time. And I'm like, actually, most agents are starving right now because their buyers aren't winning offers and they can't find any sellers to get listings. So I think yes, once you have a listing, it's almost guaranteed it will sell, or before it was, but yeah. In order to get to that point, it takes a lot of work. So going back to Anna's question, what advice would you give to new realtors now? My advice is, if you're getting into real estate simply because you saw really high prices and you think people were making easy money the past couple of years, no, it's not easy. It's a hustle.
Just want to jump on that as well. Yeah, like we were a little bit spoiled. Like I think we focus a lot on listings, everyone on this panel. And like Hailey said, yeah, like as soon as you get a listing, stick a sign on your lawn, it's going to sell in 5-7 days. However, through this shift, this is where our skills actually come out. And when I say that, this is where we differentiate from average realtors to great realtors. And exactly. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, of course. Yep. But it's like, what are you really doing to help your sellers get top dollar apart from sticking a sign on the lawn? Like, what are you doing? What extent are you taking this to? And your negotiating skills, your scripting skills, like where are you, right? In terms of your level.
Are you proactively marketing? Or are you passively marketing?
Yeah,
exactly.
Are you tracking the market every day to see what listing strategies are working? Do you work often enough to know what buyers are thinking now that interest rates are changing? Are you tracking the news and following people that are smarter than you about things like interest rates to know how to best serve your clients? I am. It was funny at the beginning of the shift, seeing a house come up, and I see it's still holding offers, for example, in my market of Hamilton, and I think, bet that realtor hasn't worked in a bit, because at this point, that's not a strategy that works. And then offer night comes. Hey, Adam, I saw that you went to see this. Is there any interest? No one's bringing me offers. I personally could have told you that, because I have been tracking the market, boots on the ground, walking through houses with clients and having sellers. So it's also about knowing the market that you're in, knowing the type of buyers that you're bringing through, knowing what they're thinking, and how to shift when their thinking shifts.
I think one point that we may have forgotten to mention, but I know is definitely something you guys have been thinking about recently, especially with buyers, is like people that were closing 2, 3, even 4 or 5 months ago, they firmed up on a property a couple months ago, and now they're trying to close on a property and appraisals aren't coming in. Again, that's where our expertise comes into play. We have to make sure that we're protecting our buyer clients to the highest extent possible, because what happens if that gap can't be met? There's a lot of legality issues that can come into play. that you
I
need to
love
get
the shift in the market right now
Yeah.
because we really show the value that we provide to our clients in negotiating on the buyer side, especially, and being able to protect our clients, making sure they're not buying something sight unseen over asking just because of this fervor in the market.
And I know we're going to have to wrap it up shortly, but I do want to ask you guys one final question, and then we're going to turn it over to the chat questions in case we have any more people that want to ask anything. So
Yeah.
I think everybody on this call, or you should know that the realtor really only has 5 main roles. They include lead generation, lead follow-up, negotiating contracts, going on appointments, and scripting or role playing. Those are really the 5 jobs of a realtor. Anything that falls outside of that scope should be leveraged. Maybe not initially, but eventually. So how do you guys have those things show up in your calendar every day? And then how do you leverage the things that aren't within that scope so you can focus on business building?
I could jump on that real quick. So what my week looks like is, on average, I lead generate about 8 to 10 hours a week. And in terms of my follow-up calls, daily 40 to 60 follow-up calls. And I know where that's where the appointments are. So I focus heavily on the appointments and as well as the follow-up calls to ensure I have at least 3 appointments per week. And I script 4 days a week from 8:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. And I stick to it. And like you said, that's my focus. Anything outside of that, it's a distraction. It's just noise. I cancel it out. And I notice the consistency is key. Consistency. And as you build up day to day, week to week, it's going to help you and you'll see great benefits out of it. So that's what my day to day looks like.
Consistency. Amazing.
Consistency.
If it's okay to jump in, only because I think that I have a lead generation strategy, so to speak, that isn't what a lot of other agents use. So, we have Sam does consistent lead gen, whether it's cold calling, following up, whatever. I have found that what works best for me and my business is, instead of calling 1,000 people every month, I have 50 to 100 close contacts that are either friends, family members, past clients, neighbors, and that I sort of work a type of communication with those people into my everyday. If I'm driving around and I pass by someone's house, I will make a reminder to write them a letter, or to knock on their door later, or to even shoot them a text. Every birthday, they're getting personalized calls and a card. The way that I lead generate is dissimilar to what a lot of other agents do, but you can still have great success once you realize what type of lead generation works for you. And the other component that I like to consider is the negotiation. Negotiating contracts, to me, it's not just about how to convince a buyer to see your worth and sign a BRA. It's not just about showing a seller that you'll do the best job. Our business is built off of connection, and it's not just with clients, it's with other realtors. I know, and I'm sure all of us have had the experience of going to see a listing, and maybe we've told our clients, I want to let you know I've worked with this realtor before, and they are awesome to work with. I know that when agents bring an offer on my listing, they tell their clients, Adam's going to be fair and honest. And when my name is on an offer, that listing agent tells their sellers, this guy's awesome to work with. And it has benefited my clients before. When there's 2 offers that are similar, hey, Adam, I want to let you know it came really close. The other agent was a Toronto agent, out of town agent. We're in Hamilton. He was kind of rude to me on the phone. I told my buyers, this is the guy's offer that you want to accept. Awesome. And all I had to do was be kind, courteous, honest, grateful, and communicative,
Mm-hmm. No, that's an amazing point. And how about for you, Hailey?
I love that Adam focuses on his sphere of influence for his lead generation. I have not lived where I live now on South Georgian Bay for very long. So I didn't feel comfortable reaching out to my sphere of influence to be like, hey, I'm a realtor now. And it felt cheesy. I didn't want to have to ask for business. I rather work with strangers, feel much more comfortable with that. And I can build up my database that way. But I also have kind of a different strategy when it comes to lead generation. And this may be another myth, that you need to lead generate every day. I don't lead generate every day. However, I block off one entire day of the week for only lead generation. So this way I hit people up who are available in the morning and available in the afternoon and in the evening. And the people who I couldn't reach in the morning, I turn around and I reach them in the afternoon or the evening. So I take one whole day, time block that off. Nothing else is scheduled. You want to see a property, you want to script, you want to do any follow-up. Nope, I don't do anything on this day except for lead generation and adding to my database. And that works for me because I like getting in the groove and just being on the ball and already have that script down pat.
I tell this a lot to our new realtors that are coming in and joining KW or joining the business for the first time. Your lead generation plan does not have to be cold calling, does not have to be door knocking, does not have to be your database. We're going to help you come up with the strategy that's going to work best for you, because you might hate cold calling and you're probably not going to have great results because you hate it, and then nothing's going to come of it. So ultimately, I think when you're thinking about growing your business, it really does come down to what's going to work best for you in the market that you're in, that's going to differentiate you from the people that are out there. So I want to thank you all for coming on today. I think that you brought tons of value, and we're going to continue answering some questions throughout this conversation today. But I think my biggest takeaway was one thing that Adam said is be the person you want to be so you can do the things that you want to and have the things that you want to. So thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you so much, Anna. You were fantastic. Sam, great to see you again, and great to meet you too.
Yes, likewise.